everybody, back to the Films Up podcast. My name is Bryan Sudfield. I'm your host. Today is June 11, 2016. This is episode 14. We are honoring Steven Spielberg today, and I'm joined by my co-host Amanda Dunn. Amanda, how are you doing today?
Hello. I'm doing well. Bryan, how are you?
I'm good. I saw Warcraft today. My eyes are tired, but I mean, I'm better now because we're finally talking about my man Spielberg. About fucking time. I've been wanting to honor this man since we started the show last year. I'm so excited. Amanda knows how much I love this guy, but for those listening who don't know how much I love Spielberg, the guy is my favorite filmmaker. He's one of the reasons why I got into making my own films, reviewing films, basically loving film to begin with. He's made countless amounts of imaginative films, but he's also done a lot of deep, depressing stuff. The guy is so versatile, it makes him such a fantastic filmmaker. Obviously, he's won 3 Oscars, 2 for Schindler's List and 1 for Saving Private Ryan. The guy has been going on since the 70s, so this guy's been directing for like 40 years now. So, I mean, this guy is a master filmmaker. He's got a new film coming out in like 3 weeks. He's got like 3 films in development right now. He's going to be filming a new film in like 2 months. Spielberg is a working man. I love the guy so much. Amanda, I never really asked you this, but how do you feel about Spielberg overall? I'm
excited to talk about Spielberg. I mean, he's iconic at this point, and for good reason, really. And everyone, you can't see me right now, but I am wearing a Jaws tank top in honor of the great Spielberg.
Okay, let's kick things off now. Okay, the first film... Now, I'm going to be honest. I think he's directed, from what I counted, over like 35 films. I have only not seen 2 of them. I've seen nearly every single film this guy has directed. I've only missed 2. And the first one is one that I have missed because I can't find it anywhere, and that's The Sugarland Express, starring Goldie Hawn. I have not seen this film. I can't say if it's good or bad. I can't say anything. This is a very overlooked film that he's directed from what I heard. I like Goldie Hawn a lot. I'll probably check it out whenever I can, but like I said, I'm only going to check it out just because Spielberg this was his theatrical film debut. He made a TV film before this called Duel, which I also have not seen, sadly. I hear it's great. Sugarland Express, I have not seen it. Amanda, have you seen this film?
Well, I was going to say, out of the 30, how many did you say?
I think like 35.
35 films. I'm not sure how many of them I've seen. I didn't count before we got started with this episode, so I guess we'll see as we go along. I know I've seen a lot of them, but this is not one of them. I have heard of it because of Goldie Hawn, and I heard her talk about it before in an interview or something, but I didn't remember or realize until this moment that that's his theatrical debut. So.
Yes. But then
I feel like I need to see it for that reason.
Yeah, same. Like, I do want to see it. But the next film is the one that got him on the map. And you're wearing the shirt, Jaws. I love Jaws. It's a fantastic film. It scares the fuck out of me. It's always scared me since I was a little kid. The iconic theme by John Williams. We'll mention that man, like, probably 800 times throughout this whole show. Because that's his protege. Jaws is a terrifying film from beginning to end. It's engaging. There were so many problems on set. It's amazing when you read all the stories about this movie and stuff. The movie just turned 40 last year, which is crazy to me because my parents always explain, how they saw this when they were kids and stuff, and it's like, I didn't realize that this movie was that old. It was nominated for Best Picture, and it is a great film. I mean, every performance is awesome. I haven't seen the full thing in years, which is so shocking because I love Spielberg. I wouldn't say this is one of my favorite ones. It's in my top, 10. It's not my top 5. But it is a great film in his filmography, and it is the one that got him on the map. So, Amanda, obviously you're wearing the Jaws shirt, which means you hate the film. So could you explain to the people what you think of this film?
Well, you know what? I'm going to sound like you for a second. It's actually been a few years since I have sat down to watch this film. But I watched it so many times growing up. It definitely terrified me like it did you. And I was just talking to my boyfriend earlier saying that for 4th of July I want to watch Jaws because I think it would be a really fun choice. Everyone's excited for summer and going to the beach and then being attacked by this killer shark. I think that's a great 4th of July pick. So I'm going to try and do that. But yeah, this is actually my son's tank top and he forgot to take it with him to visit his dad for the summer. So I've been sporting it since he left because it's really cool. And I do love the movie. So I hope to watch it, like I said, this Independence Day.
All right, smile, you sons of bitches. Next up, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. That was a horrible impression of the iconic whistle. I haven't seen this film in like 10 years. I was just talking about this with my friends yesterday. This is the Spielberg film I want to rewatch the most. I loved Close Encounters when I was a little kid. Have you experienced a close encounter? I saw something last night that I can't explain. Like, I love this film so much, and I just haven't seen it in like a decade, which really upsets me because this film also really glued me when I saw it when I was a little kid. And at that time, I wasn't really a big film fanatic. 10 years ago, I was 8 years old. I was more into films when I was a teenager, like 13, 12, around that time. And Close Encounters is definitely a good example of iconic Spielberg, because I mean, when we get to his later films, he's done more historical films, but this is the kind of Spielberg I love to see personally, like when he does these mainstream blockbuster sci-fi thriller action type of films, and Close Encounters is no exception. This is a fantastic film. If you guys have not seen it, please check it out. Amanda, what are your thoughts on this film?
Not to repeat you on everything you're saying tonight, but it's been a long time since I watched this as well. At least a decade. Gosh, and I think I only saw it the one time. And I know that I enjoyed it, but there's so much about this movie that I can't remember.
Yeah, same. I can't really remember much either.
Yeah, I'd really have to watch it again, and I mean, I guess it's on my list of movies that I need to rewatch. I sincerely only saw it the one time. So yeah, I remember enjoying it, and I'm sure it's wonderful, but I need to see it again to give an accurate review. However, just backtrack a little bit back to Jaws for a second. I'm assuming, I don't know if it's still there, but is the Jaws ride still at Universal?
It is not. It closed 4 years ago, and that's now where the Diagon Alley, part of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, is. So it's no longer there. I know when they announced it was closing, I was sad too. Last time I went to Universal was 6 years ago, and I went on that ride, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that was one of my favorite experiences at Universal. I went when I was like 12, and the Jaws ride was one of the scarier ones. So I rode King Kong and all the other ones. Earthquake was really cool, but Jaws was just, there's something about sharks that freak me out. I mean, they're scary. You're not the head of the food chain when you're in the ocean. So I have this thing when it comes to the ocean, and I know I went back to the previous movie we were talking about, but I just want to elaborate a little bit more about how much I love the ride, and even though it terrified me, and it's just such an influential film. I feel like it's a horror film. Like, I would put it in the horror section because that's scary. Anyway, so what's the third one? Or fourth one on our list tonight?
1941, which is probably the worst film that he's ever directed. It is a kind of war satire comedy with Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. Obviously, they were big around this time because they were on SNL, Blues Brothers, all that stuff. I haven't seen this in a long time either. I didn't like this film when I saw it. I didn't really think it was that funny. I mean, Spielberg doesn't really do comedies, which really upsets me because, I mean, listen, I love when he does drama, but I think he should step into more comedy. That's the thing that I loved when Scorsese did, like, canned comedy and Wolf of Wall Street, is that he went to do something that's funny and not just sad and, like, terrifying, although The Wolf of Wall Street is a terrifying film in every way, shape, or form. But yeah, 1941, really stupid, cheesy type of film. My favorite war satire film is easily Stripes with Bill Murray, directed by Ivan Reitman. That is a fantastic film. And this one, not so fantastic.
I did not see it.
Okay, moving on. Moving on.
Maybe I'm not gonna rush into finding it then.
All right, moving on. Da 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 da. Raiders of the Lost Ark is so fucking good because Indy is a cane, and I don't know why I'm saying so. Shut the fuck up.
Wow, that's a lovely song.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. I have the entire Indy Blu-ray collection right over there, and I'm lazy to get it because I'm a lazy bum.
Because you're sitting there drinking a grapefruit beer.
I am. Thanks for
that is not alcoholic.
Thanks for disclosing that, Amanda. Like, thank you for disclosing
If you
that.
want to edit that part out.
Nah, I don't like to do that. It's totally fine. People, I like to drink this stuff. It's totally fine. It's not a big deal. It's like barely even alcohol to begin with. Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is Spielberg's James Bond, because the guy, if people who don't know, Spielberg has always wanted to do a James Bond film, but he just never got around to doing it, so that's why he teamed up with George Lucas to create this character. Raiders of the Lost Ark, fantastic start to the series. Obviously, there's so many memorable scenes. The plane sequence, the sequence where he's being chased by the ball, snakes, snakes. And Harrison Ford is so great in this role that he owns Indiana Jones. No one could have played this role like him. Obviously, this came out a year after Empire Strikes Back, so him doing the double dose of Han Solo and Indiana Jones, it's like, oh yes, this is great. Yeah, I love the Indiana Jones franchise. We'll get to the other three later on, but Raiders of the Lost Ark, fantastic start. It's probably my favorite of the franchise, although one of them, a lot of people consider their favorite, but this one's my personal favorite. I love Raiders of the Lost Ark very much.
It's funny because the 3 indie films that I've seen, how many are there? 3?
There's 4.
That's right. The more recent one had like Shia, I think, in it.
Yes.
Besides that one, the other 3 sort of all run together in my mind, and sometimes I can't remember which is which when I'm thinking of different scenes from them.
Yes.
But I know I like them all. So I know I like this one a lot. Harrison Ford is just so much fun to watch. He's so charming, and he's very, very, very likable as this character. Sometimes I go back and forth like between if I prefer him as Indy or Han, but that's a different conversation to have on the Harrison Ford episode, I guess. I really enjoy Indiana Jones, and I think that it's a great thing that this franchise was created, and Spielberg is the perfect guy to direct them.
That's correct. Next up, wait, I'm trying to get the theme. Hold on. Oh, okay. Dun 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 dun. E.T. Oh my god, E.T. is one of those few movies that makes me cry all the time. I fucking love E.T. so much. This movie is like my childhood. I watched this movie all the time when I was a kid. I just watched it, I think, like 5 months ago. I love E.T. It's one of my favorite films ever made. This movie makes me cry. Listen, if you do not cry during the last 20 minutes where E.T. and Elliot say goodbye to each other, you have no fucking heart. Okay? that scene really just... And now I'm about to cry just thinking about it because, I mean... No, but it has such a heartfelt story with this young boy who's played brilliantly by Henry Thomas, who needs to come back in the film industry. Like, after E.T., he didn't really do much, which shocks me. Him befriending this alien, it's such a great story that it could have gone very wrong, but with Spielberg behind it, it worked out so well. And, like, all the other performances are great. Dee Wallace is great as the mom. Drew Barrymore, this is her big film debut. She's fantastic as the little sister. The guy who plays Michael, the brother, he's hilarious. I mean, the bike sequence, easily one of the most enthralling sequences in any film I've ever seen. John Williams' score, incredible as always. Visually, the film was great. And the fun fact, M&M's were supposed to be the candy, but they turned it down, so that's why they put Reese's Pieces in here. That's insane. That's kind of insane, but okay. I love E.T. It's one of my favorite films ever. Amanda, please tell me that you cried during the last 20 minutes of E.T., and if you didn't, then I don't know what to say to you anymore.
Don't worry, my eyes got a little moist as a child watching this film. I have not, honestly, I don't think I have watched E.T. as an adult, all the way through at least. But how can you not love the movie? I mean, I can see where someone might think it's a little sappy or weird, but it's just so likable. And I want to point out that the audition, what's the actor's name? The lead again? Tell me his name.
The lead,
Yeah,
Henry Thomas.
Henry Thomas. Correct. Thank you. Have you watched his audition online for the film?
I have not seen his audition.
You should totally look that up after we finish our episode. It's
Okay.
it's so good. And the moment when he finds out that he got the part is actually like he tells him. You can hear him tell him in the background like that he got the part. It's so wonderful. It's a moment where he's crying, and it's such a great audition. Completely see why they chose him. And also Drew Barrymore. Oh my gosh, I love her. First of all, she's one of my favorites. Just people in the industry, period. And so adorable. And I loved watching a lot of her early interviews when she was talking about her experience doing this film. I know that she and Spielberg are still very good friends, and they completely respect and love each other. And I really always loved hearing about that relationship that they created when they were on set that lasted until now. And I just think it's, again, such an iconic, family-friendly, heart-touching, lovable film. So if you haven't seen E.T., then you should probably check it out.
That's correct. Next up, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Now, this is the one with I forgot her name. The woman that's now married to Spielberg. Oh shit. I hope Amanda knows what I'm talking about. I love Temple of Doom. It's probably my least favorite out of the original three, but I still think it's a really good movie. Technically, it's a prequel to the first and third one, which is a little confusing, but I mean, it's still a great movie nonetheless. It kind of started the whole PG-13 rate in this film, which is really interesting. Like, if you read the stories behind this film, it's like, oh, shit. Yeah, there are definitely some moments that are like, how is this PG? Like, okay, okay. I gotta mention the kid that plays Short Round. He plays, his name in the Goonies. Fuck. Oh, man.
That's not his name, Brian.
I know. Don't correct me. I forgot his name. I'll look it up as you're talking. But no. Temple of Doom, good film. Not excellent, but it is still a damn good film.
Well, I can't remember which movie is which, so I just liked all three of them, and I'm going to assume that I also enjoyed this one. What happens in this one? What's an iconic moment in Temple of Doom? So that I can separate the three movies.
Crud. I haven't seen this one in forever. The opening sequence in Shanghai, where that one chick is saying anything goes in like Japanese, Chinese.
Okay, I remember her.
I'm thinking.
Yeah, dude, it's been a minute since I sat down to watch the indie films, and I know that there's some people probably out there groaning and griping that I'm saying this, but I mean, I'll brush up soon enough.
He played Data in the Goonies.
They're making another one, right? Or am I wrong about that?
What happened?
Are they making another one?
Yes, they are, but we'll mention that at the end of this episode. The kid that played Short Round in this movie, his character's name in the Goonies is Data. Thank God I just remembered.
Oh, you're right. Good job.
Thank God. Like, I love the Goonies, and I haven't seen that film in like a minute. So, I mean, like, yeah. Next up, another kind of overlooked film that Spielberg has done, The Color Purple. Whoopi Goldberg, Oprah Winfrey. Damn good film. I thought I wasn't going to like this film that much, but it really got to me, and I just love those two performances alone. Whoopi Goldberg is amazing here. Like, she is fantastic in this film, as is Oprah. She did a great job. It has a very interesting story to it involving slavery. I haven't seen this film in forever, but it's not one that I could rewatch. I mean, the subject alone just isn't like something I want to look at again. But I really do think this is a great film. I think it was nominated for a lot of Oscars. I believe Quincy Jones was the guy who composed. I think this is the only Spielberg film that John Williams did not compose. Well, this and then another film later on. But I believe Quincy Jones did the music to this, which is very cool because Quincy Jones is awesome. Yeah, Color Purple, pretty good film. Have you seen this one?
I definitely have. Honestly, this is probably one of my favorite Spielberg films. And when I say one of my favorites, he's made like 30-some films. So this would probably end up in my top 10. It just really affected me the first time I watched it. I remember my English teacher played it for us when I think I was a sophomore. And I knew of it, but I never really paid attention, was never really interested in it for whatever reason. I was probably too busy listening to, paying attention to MTV. But I really, really loved the film. It got under my skin and just really emotionally affected me. Whoopi Goldberg, like you said, is incredible in this movie. And it's one of those things where, sometimes I feel like, especially nowadays, people don't pay attention to, like, the fact that she is actually an amazing actress. And so is Oprah. Like, Oprah is known for being herself, but she has been in a handful of films, and every single time she is incredible when she performs. It's crazy to me. Like, sometimes I'll tell people how great of an actress Oprah is, and they're like, what? Oprah? Really? And I'm like, dude, yeah. She really is. If you haven't seen her movies, watch them. She obviously is very selective with what she is part of as an actress, but this was something that was clearly important and needed to be made, and I just feel like it's such a strong drama. Very, very good.
Alright, next up, Empire of the Sun, starring an incredibly young Christian Bale and then John Malkovich. This is another not-so-easy film to watch. Christian Bale, I think this was his introduction to the whole world and stuff. The kid, 13-year-old Christian Bale, was still on the same level as however old Christian Bale is right now. I love Christian Bale, and he's great in this film as this kid who struggles to survive during the Japanese side of World War II. And then he meets up with John Malkovich, and he's great in the film too. It's an engaging film. It definitely has its slow moments, but because of the performances, it is a compelling story. Like I said, with Christian Bale's character, you feel bad because he gets separated from his family. And, yeah, just following his character around, it's really cool, and it's really interesting, too. So, I mean, like, Empire of the Sun, not a great film by any means, but it is a pretty good film.
I remember liking this. I've only seen this movie once. It came on HBO. This was years and years and years ago. Again, I remember liking Christian Bale. At the time, I was a big fan of his because he was in Little Women, and that's when I had first seen that movie.
Oh, right, a Winona Ryder movie.
Yes. And I kind of fell for him in that. So I was trying to watch anything he was in, and I watched that. He's always been a great actor, just for the record. Like, ever since, like, the first thing he ever did, it was clear that he was going to be amazing as an adult. But I can't remember the entire film. I do remember liking most of what I saw, but it's been so long. Sorry.
Okay. Next up, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Now, to know what this one is, Amanda, this is the one with his father, who's played by Sean Connery. That's all you need to know.
Wait, what?
This is the one with his father, who's played by Sean Connery. We're talking about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Oh, yes. Okay.
A lot of people actually consider this to be the best one. I wouldn't complain. I think the film's fantastic. I mean, he battles Hitler in this film, or he talks with Hitler. It's pretty cool and stuff. And, yeah, when this film originally came out, I thought it was the perfect conclusion to the Indiana Jones. Like, if you exclude the new one, which we'll talk about later on, this was the perfect conclusion to the entire Indiana Jones storyline. And with him, his dad, Marcus, and I forgot the other guy's name, riding off in the sunset with the iconic John Williams theme playing in the background with the credits scrolling. Yeah, I love Last Crusade, and his back and forth with Sean Connery is single-handedly the best stuff in the entire series, in my opinion. The dad, what. I love that stuff, and yeah, Last Crusade is a pretty darn good film.
Last Crusade is the one with River Phoenix, right?
Yes, it is. As young Indy, that's correct.
Right? Yeah, I did really like this one. I watched this one probably more than the others because my brother and I are big fans of River Phoenix. So we've seen this one, I think, more than the other two. So I guess you could probably say this one might be my favorite one, just because, like I said, I've watched it the most. And, yeah. So I think this is the one I remember the most because of River Phoenix.
That's understandable. I get it. Because it was River Phoenix. I understand that. Next up, Always, which I also have not seen. I looked up the plot of this movie. It's a romantic adventure about a legendary pilot's passion for daredevil firefighting and his girl. It stars Holly Hunter, Richard Dreyfuss, and John Goodman. I have not seen it.
And?
What?
And who else does it star? You're missing one very important name.
Audrey Hepburn.
Good job. Thank you.
She wasn't on the poster. I'm sorry. I clicked the poster, and she wasn't on it. I don't know if her role's big or small, because I haven't seen the film.
Well, I can talk to you about it, because I have seen it.
Go ahead.
Always is actually one of my mom's favorite movies, and I watched it as a kid because of her, and I liked it, and then I watched it again as an adult because Audrey Hepburn as I grew up, became my favorite actress, and this was her last film that she made before she passed away, and I just think it's such a perfect last role for her. She's playing an angel in the movie. I mean, how perfect is that? Like, when I think of Audrey, I think angel. Like, the word angel and Audrey is, like, synonymous, because she was to me, an angel on earth. She was such a sweet, caring, wonderful person, and playing an angel in a Spielberg film as her last role, I mean, it's kind of awesome, right? The movie is very touching, wonderful performances. It was actually loosely based off of another movie that was made, I think, in the 50s, called Joe. A man named Joe. I think that's what it's called. I could be wrong about exactly, but something with the word Joe in it. And I've seen the original version because I wanted to see what this was kind of based on. I love both of the films. It's very touching. And Holly Hunter, I think you said you're not a fan of how she speaks or her voice. Is that right? Was that you that said that?
Yes, when I saw Batman v Superman, I was not really a fan of the way she spoke. And I know people were like, well, isn't that how she spoke in the film? No, she did not speak that way specifically for the film. She spoke that way because that's how she speaks, sadly. And I don't want to blame her. Like, she's a talented actress. It's just her voice just annoys me. I don't know why.
That's okay. We don't have to, like, go. I'm sorry, we're kind of taking a little detour. I remembered that as I was speaking about it, and so I brought it up. But more importantly, I think it's a really, I think it's a great film. It's not one of those movies you watch and you can just automatically tell, like, oh, this is a Spielberg film. It's kind of one of those that doesn't necessarily stand out, if that makes sense.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean that it's not great. So I would still recommend that you see it, especially because Audrey Hepburn is...
Oh my God.
She's not, like, the lead here, but she plays a very, very significant character.
You sound just like Francesca, who would want me to... You sound just like Francesca, who would want me to see a movie because it has Audrey Hepburn in it. Like,
yeah, that's normal, right? That's a normal thing.
Not necessarily for me, but, I mean, if you say so. Next up, Hook. I'm gonna be honest, when I was a kid, I really enjoyed Hook. When I got older, I didn't love it as much as I did when I was younger. I don't hate the film by any means, but I don't love it like a lot of people do. I understand the love for it, but the thing is, for me, it doesn't really grasp with me as something that's great, because, like, I love the character of Peter Pan, and hearing the idea of Spielberg directing a movie with an older Peter Pan, that's, like, a great story, and no one has ever done that on film, and I'm like, this should be awesome, and I was just like, it was okay at best. It has a lot of great moments, a lot of great back and forth moments, particularly with Peter and Rufio at the table, where he calls him a paramecium. He's like this, I'll tell you what a paramecium is. That's a paramecium. It's a one-cell critter with no brain and Peter Pan envy that can't fly. Don't mess with me, man. I'm a lawyer. Like, I love that stuff. And, Bannerang, Robin Williams, the late great Robin Williams, he was great as older Peter Pan. It was a little weird seeing him in that kind of role, but, I mean, he's Robin Williams. He has such a great smile. I miss the man so much. We'll talk about him on that episode that we'll do of him whenever we can, and he was great in this movie. Dustin Hoffman was fantastic as Hook. I thought he played the role very well, and the fight sequence at the end on the boat is great. I also want to give a shout out to Bob Hoskins, who plays Smee. He does great. My biggest gripe with this movie is actually Julia Roberts as Tank. I don't really like her in this film, and I don't know why. Like, I didn't like her when I was a kid. I didn't like her when I was an adult. I just don't know, like, what it is about her. I just kind of find her to be kind of rude. And apparently she and Spielberg did not get well on set, which is shocking because Spielberg is, like, the nicest man on the planet. So, I mean, like, how could you not get along with him? Like, come on, Julia Roberts. Like, come on. And, I mean, her entrance is iconic because Pierce just, like, he says the most simple line. Firefly from hell. Like, that's perfect. Amanda, what do you think of Hook?
It's okay. I'm a huge fan of Peter Pan, the story of Peter Pan in general, like huge. So I thought I would love this movie. I just like it. It's fun. I have to be in the mood for it. I haven't seen it in a while, but I saw it a few times growing up, and I mean, Robin Williams is wonderful in this. And, I mean, really everyone I thought was great and a fun time in their role. But it didn't necessarily, like, make me, jump out of my chair or anything. Like, this is awesome! I love Hook! I remember a few people growing up, this is, like, one of their favorite movies. I don't know. I think I just prefer Peter Pan I think I just prefer the classic tale of it, and this was a little bit, and it was cool to see, like, a different version of it, an adult Peter, and,
Yeah.
Julia Roberts as Tinkerbell, I love her. I do. She's one of my favorites. Just, like, someone that I always liked as a kid, and I still like her now. She's someone I've just always liked.
No, I love Julia. I love Julia Roberts.
She was going through a hard time at the time when she was making this movie. Like, word on the street, she was going through a lot, like a divorce and just bad things. So she wasn't, like, always in a good mood when she was working. But anyway, it's not really important. I mean, it wasn't the most obvious choice to play Tinkerbell. I don't know. Anyway, It's okay.
Yeah, and
I like it, but I don't love it.
Yeah, and like you brought up with the whole Drew Barrymore and Spielberg being friends, I love how Robin Williams and Spielberg remained friends up until Robin Williams' death. Like, they remained friends for, like, a good 25 years. So, I mean, that's something awesome. And I really hate the fact that they never got a chance to make another movie together again. Because, I mean, they're both, like, a perfect duo, and they really should have done someone else together. But, I mean, it is what it is. Next up is Jurassic Park. Da, 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 da. That's a big pile of dino shit. Jeff Goldblum, my main man. Oh, Jeff Goldblum, I'm excited to see you again in like 2 weeks when I see Independence Day Resurgence. I'm so excited to see you again. Jurassic Park, fantastic film. When they really re-released this film 3 years ago, I saw it in IMAX 3D. It was like the most glorious thing ever. It was so great. I love Jurassic Park. The practical effects on the dinosaurs is amazing, and it's hard to tell which ones are CGI because not every effect in this movie is CGI, but for the time being, the effects were amazing, and they still stand out to this day. They're better than some of the effects we have today, and this movie came out 23 years ago, so I mean, like, that's crazy. All the performances are great, particularly Jeff Goldblum. He stands out the most as Ian Malcolm. The score, fantastic. The kids, great. Sam Neill, great. Laura Dern, great. Richard Attenborough, great. I love Jurassic Park. It's iconic. It's memorable. It's rewatchable. I love it. It scares the crap out of me. Still scares the crap out of me. I don't know if I'm more scared of this than Jurassic. Actually, I think Jaws scares me a little more because that's a shark and that's underwater, and this is just here in person. So I mean, like. Yeah, I love Jurassic Park. It's a fantastic film. I love it very much.
I didn't like Jurassic Park as much as a kid as I do now. I think what happened was they used to play it on school trips. Like, anytime we would take, like, one of those overnight trips and we'd be on the bus for a long time and they'd show a movie, Jurassic Park got played every single time, and I got so sick of seeing it. And I was just like, can we watch a different movie ever? So a lot of times I would just put my headphones on and, like, read a book instead of watching the movie because I've seen it so many times. I didn't really fully appreciate it then. think what got me to really pay attention to it as a film, and the, pay attention to the storyline and like the filmmaking and the technicality of it all, was my son, because he was extremely into dinosaurs growing up. Like the first thing he could, when he picked up a toy, it was usually a dinosaur. He still has a huge collection of them, and he just became extremely obsessed with reading about them, and he learned all about the different types of them, and he would school me on them, and I learned so much because of him. So Jurassic Park, the whole franchise, became one of his favorite things to watch, and I watched it with him a lot, and I just had a better appreciation for the movies after that. I really think that now I would say I'm a fan of the Jurassic Park series, and I think the first one is a great blockbuster hit for a good reason. It does all the right things for a movie about dinosaurs in modern times. I think the reason why Jaws might be more scary is because it seems more real.
Yes.
There are sharks currently in the ocean right now attacking people. Still, we're not necessarily living at a time where dinosaurs exist, so it's more like a fantasy in a way, but it's still terrifying. I just think Jaws scared me more because it could happen to me. It could. Never know.
And to be quite honest, 1993, when this film came out, was the best year for Spielberg. This came out in the summer, and then 6 months later, we had Schindler's List come out, which I consider to be the best film that he's ever done. It's not my favorite film that he's ever done, because it's the hardest film of his filmography that I think I've ever seen. I recently rewatched this for my Face and History class when we were learning about the Holocaust and stuff. This film, it's one of the best films ever made, and it really is the best film that he's ever done. I mean, he won the Oscar for this film. He won his first Oscar. He won Best Director. Then the film won Best Picture. It was nominated for so many other Oscars. The story is amazing. I mean, Oscar Schindler, who's played excellently by Liam Neeson, he saved over 3,000 Jews. It's an incredible story, and he's amazing in it. The story's told so well. The story feels like a documentary because of the way it was shot in black and white, the handheld style, the 35mm film. It felt like a documentary just in filmmaking format, and it was really well told. And it's a film that every film lover has to watch, or everybody has to watch at least once in their life, because it is like a history lesson come to life on film. The movie's 3 hours long. It's the same runtime as Titanic, so if you could sit through Titanic, you should try to sit through Schindler's List. I know that's a weird comparison, but to be quite honest, it is kind of the truth. Ralph Fiennes is also haunting as the leader of the concentration camp. He is amazing here. I mean, he's always a great presence on screen. He's great when it comes to villains like this, and then Lord Voldemort in the Harry Potter films. It's great, and then Ben Kingsley's also great here, too. The Schindler's List is the best film that Spielberg has ever done. It's not my favorite one, but it is the best one he's ever done.
Oh, boy. This movie, it took me a few tries to get through it, only because it was making me so sad. Not because it's boring or I wasn't into it. It was just really hard to watch, and the times I feel like that I attempted to watch him, I just was already in a kind of depressed state, so I was like, it's not a good choice for me right now. When I finally finished it, though, I mean, as a film lover, you can't help but appreciate how brilliant the movie is, and I think it's beautifully done. I mean, what more can I say that you didn't already say? But it's so beautifully done, and it would be on my top 10 list as well for Spielberg. I don't know exactly where it would rank, but I would feel like by default it would have to be there. I would feel like it's a crime if I didn't put it there. And if, like you said, every film lover has to see it at least once, at least one time. I can understand why some people might not want to watch this again and again. I get it. I mean, I've only seen it all the way through. I mean, I got through it finally, the one time. It's just really effective as far as, you're going to remember it. It's haunting. It's not going to, you're not going to be able to think about anything else unless you put on, something completely brainless afterwards to, completely get you in a different mood. But yeah, fantastic film.
Yeah,
and what can I say?
Yeah, and Spielberg was depressed during the filmmaking of this. That he would have Jerry Seinfeld call him, Robin Williams call him to make him happy, because there was not like a lot of humor on set because they were obviously trying to make the most serious film they could. So I mean, I guess that's yeah. This film was not only heartbreaking to us; it was heartbreaking to Spielberg himself because I don't want to be mean, but Spielberg is a Jew himself, so like he was doing this film in memoriam for the people that died, and it's like great. And the way it ends too, with every single one of the people that Schindler saved putting that flower on his grave, like all the actors and stuff, and then ends with Liam Neeson doing it. Like it's great stuff. It's a great film. But now moving on to something more fun. He took a 4-year break after making this film, and he came back with The Lost World Jurassic Park, which is the sequel to Jurassic Park. I think we talked about this on our Julianne Moore episode. I don't hate this film. It's okay at best. I mean, it's great that Ian Malcolm is the lead character because he was my favorite character in the first one. And he does great. Jeff Goldblum jumps back in the role. Julianne Moore's great here too. The scene in Los Angeles with the dinosaur running around, that was a little weird. That just kind of felt a little out of place. It didn't fit with the tone of the film. Like, I liked everything on the island, but I didn't like everything that took place off the island. And the little girl spinning around and kicking the dinosaur, what the fuck was that all about? Like, what was that? The gymnast, like, daughter of Jeff Goldblum? Like, okay, sure, whatever. That's actually the only Jurassic Park film I own is the first one. So, I mean, like, yeah, I would like to own this one and Jurassic World, but I'm not going to buy Jurassic Park 3 because Jurassic Park 3 is a shitty film. And, yeah, Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, it's an okay film at best.
Yeah, I of all of them, my favorite is the original. My son has the whole collection, so I've seen them all a bunch of times. I can't remember. Spielberg didn't direct. How many did he direct?
He only directed these two.
These two. Okay. Good. Yeah. It's fun. And I don't dislike it or anything. I just really like the first one a lot more. And the third one, like you said, would be my least favorite of the 4 movies. I actually like Jurassic World. Is that the recent one?
Yeah, Jurassic World.
Okay, sorry.
I liked it too.
I really liked that one. It would probably be second. I probably liked it more than
yeah.
the second.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I would rank it like Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, Lost World, and then whatever the third one's called. I can't even remember right
It's just called Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, Jurassic Park 3. Okay, that's original. Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's not like my favorite or anything.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Next up is Amistad. This has a great cast. Matthew McConaughey, Morgan Freeman, Anthony Hopkins, Jim Hansu. It's a great film. This is probably Spielberg's Roots, and it kind of feels like Roots in one film. It's really good. This actually kind of showed Matthew McConaughey's true dramatic chops because at this time, this was in the early 90s, Matthew McConaughey was still on the rise. He did that one movie. What's that one movie he did with Sandra Bullock?
A Time to Kill?
Yeah, Time to Kill. Like, that was a comedy. Then he did this movie, and this is a drama. It's a pretty darn good film. I haven't seen it in forever. It's good. It's not great from what I remember, but I do love the cast, and everyone does a great job.
I have not seen this.
Okay, moving on to the next film. Oh, I just lost the list. Excuse me.
How dare you?
Yeah, how dare me indeed. Okay, Saving Private Ryan's next film. Fantastic war film. Fantastic war film. We talked about this film twice on our Tom Hanks and Matt Damon episode. It's a great film.
Oh, that's right.
Everyone's great. The first 20 minutes alone, I mean, iconic stuff. It's a great film. Hanks is amazing. He steals the entire movie. He's amazing leading this whole crew to find Matt Damon. And, yeah, I love Private Ryan. We talked about it enough, but I could just say that it is a fantastic war film. It's probably my favorite in the war genre. And if you haven't seen it, you definitely should do yourself a favor and check it out.
Yeah, I was going to say, it feels like we've talked about this movie more than any other movie ever. It's like, wait a second, why are we talking about this again? Well, in a nutshell, I think it's a great film. It's a great war film, specifically. It's not my favorite war film, or even my favorite Spielberg film at all, but it's, it's a
Yeah.
I can't say anything bad about it. Everyone's great in it, and I completely understand if someone says this is their favorite war film. I get it. It's not mine, but I completely understand if it's yours.
Yeah. Next up, AI artificial intelligence starring Haley Joel Osment when he was on the rise to fame. I I never really cared for this film to begin with. I always thought this film was really dumb. Originally, Stanley Kubrick was supposed to direct this, but he passed away, and so like he was gonna be directing this after he finished Eyes Wide Shut, which fun fact, after he showed Warner Brothers the final cut, he passed away 4 days later, so he wasn't alive for the premiere of the film, which is upsetting, but I mean, it is what it is, and I thought, yeah, it definitely had Kubrick to it. It's not a great film by any means. I mean, it is cool, and like I said, I always love it whenever Spielberg does these sci-fi films. Like, I love whenever Spielberg does sci-fi, because, I mean, one of his first films is a sci-fi film, and Close Encounters, I mean, E.T. E.T., Elliot flying over the moon is, the icon of, Spielberg's production logo, Amblin Entertainment, so, I mean, that's saying something, and, Haley Joel Osment's good in the film. I still will go on the limb, and I think everyone will, by saying The Sixth Sense is the best performance he's ever given. And I kind of wish that he would go back to doing more stuff like, like Sixth Sense type of stuff, even like this, or Pay It Forward and stuff. Haley Joel Osment was such a fantastic child actor. Now he's like in weird stuff, like he was in Tusk, he was in the Entourage movie. The guy's just into weird stuff, and now he's like really fat. I mean, buddy, cut down a bit. Like, easy with the candy bars, eat some salad, and yeah, you'll be fine. I still love you, man, though. But the one performance that I love so much is the woman that plays his mother, Frances O'Connor. She is so beautiful. Oh my god, she is gorgeous as hell. And I hear that she's in The Conjuring 2, which as of this recording, I'm seeing that tomorrow. So I'm really excited to finally see her again, because this is probably the only film I ever saw her in. And yeah, AI, it's a weird film, but I mean, it's cool, I guess.
Well, I was excited to get to this point in the discussion of his films, because this is one of my favorite movies that he made. Okay, and I know it's not a popular choice, and I mean, I know that this movie sort of splits people down the middle. Like, I hated it or I loved it, or I love this movie, and I didn't really expect to love it as much as I did. I remember when I first went into watching it, I wasn't even all that interested, but that's what everyone wanted to watch, and so we watched it, and I'm like bawling my eyes out by the end. I don't know, it just really sucked me in. It was such a strange, beautiful world that was created, and I thought that the character was so, like, I just wanted to take care of him. And I don't know if it was my mother instincts kicking in, because at the time, this was after my son was born and he was small. I just really wanted to take care of him, and it was sad, and it was very cool, like you said, but it just had so much going for it. I don't know, and it is weird, but in like the best kind of way. I just think it's a great movie, and it's one that I feel like you're either really going to love this, or you're just gonna be like, you'll forget about it. And it stuck with me. I definitely ended up loving it way more than I expected to, and it's one that I can watch over and over again. And I usually, like, if I do, I find something in it to love, like, that I didn't realize that I loved the last time I watched it. It's one of those movies for me. I do remember people disputing the ending, saying that Kubrick would have never had such a hopeful ending, like such a good feeling at the end.
No, he
and it would have been a lot more depressing and dark. And that's, I mean, like, I feel like I would have loved it either way. But this is what Spielberg wanted to do with it, and I don't fault him for it. It was very touching the way he chose to end this. It still really got me. So, yeah, AI happens to be in my top 10 Spielberg, and honestly, it could possibly be in my top 5. That's how much I really felt for that.
That's really shocking to hear, because I never really heard anyone say they loved this film. Next up is a film that I really love, and I hope you love it too. I think you might have, because we did talk about this film before. Minority Report, starring my main man Tom Cruise. I love this film. It did take me a while to appreciate it. I liked it the first time I saw it, but then I saw it again, and I'm like, Okay, I'm into it. I love the way Spielberg. I love the way he made this film. Futuristic sci-fi type of deal. You find out who commits a crime like 2 days before it happens. Tom Cruise finds out he commits one, and then he's on the run. It's a great film, and Cruise is amazing here as he always is. People mock the man. I love the guy no matter what. And yeah, this is a great underrated sci-fi film. And yeah, if you haven't seen it, check it out.
I agree with you. I thought this was really solid. I watched this and was like, okay, I am digging that. So I'm a fan of this movie. I haven't seen it in a while, actually. It should be on my list of things to rewatch. But yeah, it's great. Definitely a fan of this one.
Awesome. Next up is my favorite Spielberg film, Catch Me If You Can. We talked about this film numerous times. This is my second favorite film ever. I'll try to go short with this film. I can rewatch it over and over again. The movie's 2.5 hours long. I don't give a fuck. I want this movie to go on for like 7 hours. I love this film so much. DiCaprio is amazing here as Frank Abagnale Jr. And Tom Hanks is incredible as Kyle Hanray. I mean, yeah, I'm going to say it like that because that's how he says his name because he's from Boston. I'm sorry. I have to. It's knock knock. Who's there? Go fuck yourself. Like, come on, people. Like, it's.
There's a Boston Red Sox sign right behind your head.
I know because I'm a Red Sox fan. Long live the Red Sox. And I'm not even from Boston, so I mean, yeah, that's how much I love it. But no, Catch Me If You Can. It's funny. It's heartwarming. It's heartbreaking towards the end where he goes to the house and then he sees what's going on with his mom and stuff. It's really compelling stuff. I love Catch Me If You Can. It's my second favorite film of all time, and I don't usually say like what my favorite film is, but it's in my top 5 favorite films of all time. I love Catch Me If You Can, like, with a hardcore passion. I watch it at least 3 times every year.
Sweet. Yes, I do know about your love for this film. I also share a love for this film as well. Ranking-wise, as far as Spielberg films are concerned, it would be in my top 5, along with Artificial Intelligence. I don't know where exactly because I haven't figured all that out yet, but it would be in my top 5. I adore this movie. Fantastic writing. Oh my gosh, the writing is so strong here. It's so, like, engaging. From the moment it starts to the end, it's one of those that keeps you on the edge of your seat, and you're just so, like, there's comedy, there's drama, it makes you angry, it makes you sad, it makes you laugh. Leonardo DiCaprio is perfect in the role. Tom Hanks is perfect in his role. Just a fantastic film from start to finish. Everything about it, highly, highly recommend.
Yes, and I need to ask you a question, Amanda. Do you concur?
I concur.
Like, another great line. Next up, The Terminal, which I think is one of his most underrated films, most underappreciated films. This film is so mixed reviews. I don't get when people say they hate this film. I fucking love The Terminal. I don't care what people say. I love it. Yes, is the accent from Tom Hanks weird? Of course it is. It's Tom Hanks doing an accent. It's weird as hell. But it's a damn good accent. I love his back and forth with Catherine Zeta-Jones, who is incredibly beautiful in this film. Another incredibly beautiful woman. I mean, he's trapped in an airport. His country's under attack. Stanley Tucci's great in the film. I love The Terminal. I don't care what people say. I think it's a great film. I think it's one of Spielberg's underrated films. It's in my top 10, actually. It's not in my top 5, but I really love The Terminal, personally.
The Terminal, before it came out, I remember seeing the mixed reviews on it. And so I skipped the theater on this, but I saw it as soon as it came out on DVD, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't really understand what the big, like, why are people not enjoying this? What's not to like? I get that. I mean, you can start to feel a little claustrophobic. He's in this airport the whole time, but I thought that was what made it so compelling. Like, I felt like for such a limited location, they did such a great job with telling the story. It was entertaining. I just remember really liking Zoe in this movie. Zoe Saldana's the part in this. She's really good at being, like, yelling, and just being kind of an intimidating person behind the counter. So she's really fun to watch. But I thought his accent was cool. Definitely was weird, but it was a cool, weird accent, and that's okay. Some people in this life that we encounter have weird accents, and he nailed it. So why are we complaining? It's not one of my favorites. Like, it wouldn't be in my top 10, I don't think. But I mean, I think it's an enjoyable movie.
Yeah, and it's his fun, and it's probably his funniest film because it is a kind of a straight up comedy too.
Right.
So that's kind of why it's something special to me. Next up, War of the Worlds, starring Tom Cruise, again, filmed here in my great state of New Jersey, which I find very cool. I love War of the Worlds. It's very enjoyable. It's very enthralling. He's great. Dakota Fan's fantastic. Um, the son is horrible. I said that on a Tom Cruise episode. He's absolutely horrendous. Like, when he goes away in the film, it's not a spoiler. Everything's perfect. And then something happens at the end, and I'm like, well, fuck me, Nikatis, because now everything's ruined. Thank you, Spielberg, for bringing him back. But I love War of the Worlds. Great action film. Love it, love it, love it. And I remember on the Tom Cruise episode, you were like quoting Dakota Fan, where she was like, "Is it the terrorists?" Yes, yes.
I really enjoy this movie. I would even go as far as saying I love this movie. I saw it a bunch of times because my son, once he saw it, he became obsessed with it, and that's all he wanted to watch. Every day I was like, "Can we watch that again?" I saw it in the theater, and I just want to say that the whole build-up, like when the whole attack first starts to happen, that whole segment is so brilliant to me. Like, it's so thrilling, so edge of your seat, like perfect thriller action like sequence. That whole beginning part of the attack. I thought that it looked so cool. The effects were awesome. It got a little weird here and there. But I like weird things, so I didn't mind that. Like when Tim Robbins' character comes in and that whole thing. But I mean, and some people thought like the way things were resolved was weird. But I mean, guys, it's a movie about an alien invasion.
And
it's gonna get weird.
And it has Tom Cruise in it.
I thought it was different in a good way. And as a whole, fantastic action film, and probably one of my favorites as far as like his action films are concerned. I don't know, I just liked it. I realized that those are two of his sci-fis. Like, and I really liked Minority Report too. I think I really enjoy when he does sci-fi because E.T. as well. So.
Yes, and he needs to work with Tom Cruise again because it's Tom Cruise. Like, I mean,
one of the moments in the movie that stands out in my mind is when Tom Cruise is making the peanut butter and jelly sandwich after like they made it to the house, I think in Boston.
Yeah, and then he throws it at the window.
He just like throws it because she doesn't want to eat it, and like sticks to the window. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that was really funny. Next up, Munich. Obviously, this is relating to the Munich Olympics where those stars get killed and stuff, and then this is really more about the investigation and stuff. It's a slow burn film, but man, this film is fucking good. I really like Munich a lot, and it's definitely, like I said, slow burn. It's probably one of Spielberg's slowest films, but you can understand why, because it's going for that feeling, and everyone does a great job. I believe Eric Bana is the lead here, and he's actually a really overlooked actor. He hasn't really done many good films to begin with. Like, the only really good stuff that I think I've seen him in is this, and probably the Star Trek reboot. I've seen him in more stuff, but I can't think of any on the top of my head. And I like Munich a lot. It's just not one that I can rewatch over and over again.
I'm a fan of slow burn films. A lot of times when people complain about it, I realize that, the general public, the average moviegoer wants things to happen quickly. And for someone like me for me it means like, oh, this is a slow burn, that means that this is a movie catering to actors. Because like, a lot of times this relies on the actors to build the story with like, a lot of dialogue usually, and I really like character pieces, and I felt like this is one of those. It doesn't happen to be like one of my favorites, but I did think it was really strong, and I would still recommend. I would recommend it to someone who's interested in this whole thing that happened.
Yeah.
I think I feel like for what it's about and for the story that they're telling, this was the best way to do it. I don't think it should have been like sped up at all as far as like, how quickly we resolve this. I mean, this is something we want the details. We want to know what it was like. We want to know how this happened, and I felt like he did a great job with that. So.
Yep, I agree. Next up, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Now, I know a lot of people do not like this film. I'll say this. It is a weak film in the Indiana Jones franchise. It wasn't the strongest return for the character, but it's not a horrible film. It's just when you compare it to the original three, it's not on that same level. Yes, there's monkeys swinging in a tree. Yes, that was stupid as hell. I mean, Harrison Ford did jump back into the role. I liked Shia LaBeouf's character. I liked that Karen Allen came back. I didn't like Cate Blanchett in this movie. I thought she was horrible in this movie. I don't know if I can blame her for that, but she wasn't very good in this film. But I like that was like a 50s crime thriller type of thing, like a 50s mystery type of thing. I like that. But yeah, it's not a great film. But it's not horrible. But I understand why people say it's not a good film. I understand that.
This one, it felt like something was missing. I didn't have that feeling that I get from the original indie films. It was fun to see this character brought back to life, and that was probably what I liked most about it, seeing Harrison Ford as this character again. But it was like he was trying too hard, and it just didn't always gel with me as far as entertainment. I mean, sometimes I was rolling my eyes, so that's not a good thing, I guess. But I feel like it wasn't terrible. I just couldn't quite get on board with this one. And if they're gonna do another one,
which they
like
are,
maybe
they
will
are doing it
from what didn't work so well in this last one, and they'll fix that. Hopefully.
Yeah, they are doing another one. It's coming out in 3 years. Spielberg's coming back to direct it. Harrison Ford's coming back to star in it. And George Lucas is not involved in it, which is perfect, because that's probably the reason why this film wasn't that very good. It was because of George Lucas. Like, it wasn't a bad directed film. It just wasn't well written. But we'll move on to the next film, which is The Adventures of Tintin, which is another really underrated Spielberg film. This was the first animated film they ever directed, and I loved it. I thought it was a really fun crime movie. Jamie Bell played Tintin. He was great. Andy Serkis was here. He was awesome. Daniel Craig was great as the villain. I love films like this, kind of like mystery type of stuff, and this was a really fun movie. It's really enjoyable. I haven't seen it in like forever. I saw it when it came out in the theater, but I haven't seen it since, so it's been 5 years. And yeah, everyone should definitely check this film out. It's fantastic.
Wait, which one is this?
This is The Adventures of Tintin, Amanda.
I have not seen that.
Fuck.
Oops.
God damn it. Next up, War Horse, which came out 4 days after this movie, which is crazy. So you got a double dose of Spielberg in 1 week. That's pretty awesome. I like War Horse. I don't love it. It did make me cry. I mean, seeing a horse in the battle terrifies me, but it was a well-done film. It was compelling. It was heartbreaking. It was a well-done film, but there were a lot of stuff with the plot that just didn't work very well. I don't really remember. There was one involving a little girl that gets taken away during the movie, which kind of really pissed me off. But it was still a good film. I really liked it.
I meant to see it, but I never got around to it.
Okay, next up, Lincoln. Now, I'm only going to say one thing about this movie, and that's all you need to know to watch this. Daniel Day-Lewis. That's it. The end. This was his first film in 5 years. He won the Oscar for this. He won every award for this. I mean, he embodied the role of Abraham Lincoln, and it was great. He was great. Sally Field was horrible in the film, I thought, and Tommy Lee Jones was awesome. Yeah, I liked Lincoln a lot. I remember seeing it opening weekend, and it was packed. I saw it on a Saturday night, and this was weird because it was the same weekend that the final Twilight movie came out, and this film was packed. It was like the entire theater was full. It was crazy. The first half hour was really slow, and then the last 2 hours were really quick. So when the movie ended, I'm like, wait, that's it? It's over? What? I'm like, wait, that can't be 2.5 hours. I thought that movie was like an hour and a half. But yeah, I really like Lincoln a lot. It's a pretty good film.
Not to sound like a broken record, but I meant to see this one.
Oh my god.
And I never got around to it. But I have heard that Daniel Day-Lewis was very, very, very much in character the entire process of making this film. Even when they were not filming, he had to be referred to as Abe or Mr. Lincoln. He did not want anyone to call him by his real name. He was just constantly in character. And I have a friend whose cousin was in the movie as like one of the background, as one of the soldiers.
Okay.
And he had a few stories to share as far as working on the film. Like, he was, first of all, starstruck and amazed to be working with Spielberg and working around him and being directed by him, and then also watching Daniel Day-Lewis and Spielberg, the way they interacted with each other was incredible to watch, and that Daniel was for sure in character. They were always calling him either Abe or Mr. Lincoln or Governor or something. So I like having that backstory there, and I will see it at some point, but I have not seen it yet.
Okay. And the most recent film he's directed was Bridge of Spies. He was nominated for Best Picture. It won an Oscar that shouldn't have won, but I'll get to that later on. I really liked Bridge of Spies a lot. I thought it was a pretty good film. Tom Hanks was great in the film. Mark Rylance was good in the film. I liked the story. It was written by the Coen brothers, so Tom Hanks, Coen brothers, and Spielberg in one film, that's automatically a perfect thing for a film lover, and I thought it was a pretty darn good film. Now, what I will say is that while I did really like Mark Rylance, he should not have won the Oscar. That Oscar was robbed. Stallone should have won. I'm looking at Creed right there. It's literally like right in front of me right now as we speak. Stallone should have won. He was robbed. Everyone agrees with me. I'm sure you'll agree with me on that too when you get to your thoughts on this film, but yeah, I liked Bridge of Spies. I didn't love it, but I really did. I really enjoyed it for what it was.
I liked Bridge of Spies a lot more than I expected to. I don't know what I expected, really. I just wasn't necessarily excited about it, but I watched it the night of the Oscars, like before the show aired, because I was trying to watch as many Oscar-nominated films as possible, and this was one of the ones on my on-demand, so we watched it, and I ended up really enjoying it. I was kind of, sucked into that whole story, and I didn't know about this story before I watched the film, and I'm glad that they made a movie about it. I feel like it was an important story to tell. Tom Hanks, I love that guy. What more can I say? Of course he was great in this. He's always, always great. As far as Mark Rylance is concerned, I completely understand why he was nominated. I get why he was nominated. I get it. But that's not where my vote went as far as this award was concerned. And I did not expect him to win. I don't know why. It was such a shocking thing that
bait.
Stallone
It was
didn't
bait.
win.
Amanda, it was bait.
Yeah, I know. I get that now, but I guess I just thought that Stallone had it in the bag. And I was disappointed. I don't like to take away from someone winning the award and saying they didn't deserve it. So I won't say that, but I will just say that's not who I would have picked. I would have definitely picked Stallone. But it's okay. I don't want to be a hater and say that Mark Rylance wasn't great, because he was. I'd be lying if I said, oh, he wasn't good in the movie. He was definitely. I get why he was nominated. I get it.
Yes.
He deserved that nomination. I just really wanted Stallone to win the award.
I agree.
But the movie itself is great, and like I said, I ended up loving it way more than I expected to.
All right, and now Spielberg has a film. As of right now, it comes out in 3 weeks, the BFG. I never told Amanda this. I loved the book growing up by Roald Dahl. I loved that book when I was a kid. I'm really excited for this film. I think it looks great. A lot of people are kind of complaining about it from the way it looks. I think it looks fantastic. I don't care what people say. I think it looks great. Spielberg and Disney making a film together, that automatically gets me excited. Mark Rylance is playing the BFG, which is really good casting, and the motion capture on him looks great. I'm really excited for the BFG. Comes out 4th of July weekend. I cannot wait to see this. I'm going to see this day one for sure. I cannot wait for this movie.
I did not read the book, so I don't have an attachment to the story at all, but based on the trailer, I'm interested, and knowing that this is a lot of people's childhood favorite book, or one of the ones that they loved so much growing up, makes me excited to see how they feel about it once they watch it. I won't necessarily have that experience as far as comparing it to the book, so I'm kind of glad about that, but in a way I almost feel like I wish I had read this as a child. But I think it's great that Spielberg did this film. He seems like the perfect director for it, and I'll probably be seeing it. I just wish I could see it with my son, but he's not here right now.
And then he's got a film coming out called Ready Player One, which is going to be taking place in the whole world of video games and stuff. It's going to be starring Ty Sheridan from Mud, Olivia Cook from Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, Mark Rylance, Simon Pegg, and TJ Miller. I'm so excited for this film. I don't really know much about it, but I'm really excited for this. He's going to begin filming this in, I believe, 2 months, and I love the cast. I love Ty Sheridan. I love Olivia Cook. I love all the other actors I just brought up. So I'm really excited for this film.
Okay, this is my first time hearing about it, but that sounds like a great cast. My interest has been piqued.
Yes, and then Indy 5 coming out in 3 years. I'm excited for it because it's Indiana Jones coming back again.
Right. Say no more. I get it.
Yes. So that is the end of our episode of the films of Steven Spielberg, ladies and gentlemen. That was episode 14. When will we be back? We don't know yet. We don't, like, on our last episode, we brought up what the other episodes are going to be, but honestly, we don't know if that's going to be the particular order, because the original episode I said for episode 15, I don't know if I'll have time to watch that person's films, because there's like 20 of them that Amanda wants me to watch, and I've only seen like 5 of them, and I can't. I'm sorry, I can't.
Their work cut out for them.
I'm sorry, I can't. I have to do that when I see at least 10 of him.
You can't. Don't say you can't. That's a terrible word. Don't say I can't ever, unless you really can.
Yeah, I don't know if I can. I'm sorry.
You can. You're capable of this. I believe in you.
There's too many of them. So yeah, guys, that is the end of this episode of the Films Up podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow me at Bryan98. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Bryan Sudfield. Also, listen to the other shows I do, Top 5 Saturdays Live with Chase Lee, and Nerdy Scores, a film podcast, which is up pretty much every Sunday. I co-host that with Matt Wabner. We're on Spreaker and YouTube. And Amanda, where can people find you?
Oh, people can find me on, let's see, Instagram, at Amanda Actress. The same handle on Twitter as well, at Amanda Actress.
Yes, and Amanda made a film that she wrote, directed, and starred in called Remain Unseen. It should be coming out sometime soon. I'm still waiting for my copy, but I mean,
Brian's gonna do a whole review, whole episode on his channel.
I don't review short films, but I guess I have to. So, yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Film Stuff Podcast. Please tell us down below what your favorite Spielberg films are, and do you guys think I'm crazy for loving The Terminal? Guys, really, thank you so much.
I'm crazy for loving artificial intelligence as much as I
Yes, even ask that. But really, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next time for episode 15, whenever we come back. We hope it'll be in a few weeks, so yeah. We'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Love you, bye!